Here we go, the best 3 sleepers from 2024. 4 if you include the bonus one at the end. Let's do this. So let's wind it all the way back to the start of the year for my first card, and we're going to talk about Ezram Agency Chief. So for 1 white, white, blue, blue, so 5 mana, we're going to get a legendary creature, Archon Detective. Obviously they're wearing hats. They're a 5/5 with flying, and whenever they enter the battlefield, you're going to investigate twice, so you're going to make 2 clue tokens. Yeah, and then for 1 mana, you can sacrifice an artifact, and Ezram gains your choice of Vigilance, Lifelink, or Hexproof. So you can suit him up for battle a bit better, or you can protect him. So where are we going with Ezram? What type of deck we can build? Quite clearly we could build this as an artifact theme, or we could build it as like a blink theme to regenerate its value, but we're going to actually build it as a clue themed deck. There has been so much support for clues this year alone. If we just rewind to Fallout, we've had James Wandering Dad, we've had Pippa Wright and Elder Owen. In the Doctor Who set, had Martha Jones and Osgood. Disorder in the Courts, Official Interrogation, Thorough Investigation, Search Supremacist, we've got Elquist Pross, we've got Lavina, Fault, Conspiracy. We've got obviously Sally Sparrow, another one from Doctor Who. We've even got a sweeper that cares about investigating, and that's No Witnesses. Obviously we've got Pauper Staples with Novice and Thraben Inspector. We've got the Forensic Gadgeteer. We've got Curious Inquiry. We even have an alt WinCon for clue tokens specifically with mechanized production, and that's just within the clue sections alone. Never mind if we go down the convoke route with improvised effects. We also have cards that care about affinity for artifact. There is just so much value to be had within this deck. That's not even mentioning Academy Manufacturer, that whenever you make one of these tokens, you're going to make 1 of everything. So yeah, this is just an absolutely fantastic deck. Don't forget as well, we only need to buff his power by 2, and he's got that magical 7 power range to 3 hit anybody with commander damage, and his ability as well is only sacrifice an artifact, not sacrifice a clue. So that does mean we could throw in a bunch of equipment in there as well to help support him, and then be able to sacrifice those off if we don't need them, if we wanted to keep our clues for drawing cards. And that's another thing about this deck. The value and the resources that we are generating are helping us dig through our deck to find more value and more resources, because obviously clues draw cards. So yeah, absolutely fantastic deck. I believe you can get some real wins out of this. Once that's in your command zone, people will be wondering what you're doing, and when you start generating all that value, I imagine they'll be very impressed, as well as caught off guard. So moving on to around about June time this year, we had Modern Horizons 3, and in that set we got Pearl Ear Imperial Advisor. So for 1 white, we got a legendary creature Fox Advisor that's a 3/4 with lifelink. Enchantment spells you cast have affinity for auras. Whenever you cast an aura spell that targets a modified permanent you control, draw a card. I know what you're thinking, you could play Light Paws, but well, that'll put a massive target on your back. So play this one instead and just get as much value anyway. Going down the aura and enchantment theme, and well, it's an enchantress deck, so we're going to use all the enchantresses like Messer Enchantress. We're also going to throw in Sram, Senior Edificer. We're going to be using our Fancy Little, Unquestioned Authority and Spirit Mantle to give ourselves protection from creatures as well as buffing us. Never mind obviously all the glitters, Atwell Armor, things like that. Obviously once we've got auras and equipment on our creatures, we can use something like Winds of Wrath to wipe the board but not lose our stuff, so it becomes a one-sided board wipe. As we're casting auras and enchantments on our creatures, we want something like Sigil of the Empty Throne, Archons of Sungrace, filling out the board with loads of flyers, Pegasus to gain life. We've got Transcendent Envy and Janither to make our spells cheaper to cast. On top of that, white is no longer the weak colour that it used to be. You know, we've got protection, we've got interaction, we've got removal. We can now card draw efficiently. You know, when you start to go down the route of things like Esper Sentinels and Smothering Tides, like we have absolute powerhouse staples in this colour. So yeah, don't sleep on this one. And the fact that like you're drawing a card every time you get one of these permanents on the battlefield is just fantastic. It basically turns nearly every spell in your deck into a cantrip, so you can keep digging and keep going, so you never run out of fuel. Fantastic deck. Next up we have a mono blue commander, and that's Kiora the Rising Tide. Yeah, so for 2 and a blue, we get a legendary creature Merfolk No More that's a 3/2. Whenever Kiora enters the battlefield, draw 2 cards, then discard 2 cards. Don't worry, because she has Threshold. Whenever Kiora attacks, if there are 7 or more cards in your graveyard, you may create a Scion of the Deep, a legendary 8/8 blue octopus creature token. Yeah, so you're going to attack with this, you're going to make giant 8/8s, and we're going to win the game quite easily because we can do all the cool things that blue can do. So how are we building this Kiora deck? Well, we're going to do it all around the Threshold mechanic. We're going to throw as much stuff into our graveyard to give us an advantage later on. Yeah, we're going to use things like Consider, Curate, Otherworldly Gaze to put stuff into our graveyard. We can use Cephaloid Inchmage as well to surveil even more. We can use cards like Search as counter. We can also use counterspell magic to keep us safe and protect us while also filling the graveyard. What we're going to do with all this stuff in the graveyard besides sides, making 8/8 with our commanders. Well, we're going to use things like Talarian Terror, Cryptic Serpent. We can use the new Aberrant Ocury, and we can use Haughty Djinns, and even like a Terry the Pteramander to make sure we can get in and deal that damage as well. Also, to make sure that Kiora doesn't die on the battlefield too early, even though we're going to be using cap spells and all the shenanigans in blue, we're going to be using things like Aqueous Form, Abshon's Desire, Ether Tunnel, and Become the Pilot. This is just an absolutely fantastic deck to build. If you've ever played something like the Mono Blue Terror deck in Pauper, we're basically just making a commander version of that. Yeah, except our commander is going to also enable us to make those 8/8s, those big threats on the board to be able to win the game. Yeah, don't forget as well, we're in blue, so we can run all the usual things, all of the counter spells. We can run the snaps, the bounce lands, the river rebukes, the cyclonic rifts. Yeah, we have all that utility still available to us, as well as all the card draw spells in the world to make sure we can keep our hand full, keep drawing cards, keep doing what we need to do, and win the game quite easily. It's at this part of the video that I'd just like to say thank you very much for watching. If you're enjoying yourself, please consider hitting that like button, it really helps out. If you want to see more content like this, hit the subscribe button so you don't miss out. And yeah, if you've got any cards or any suggestions that you feel should be included in the sleeper list of 2024, drop them down in the comments below. And right, onto the bonus one, shall we? So the bonus sleeper that I've got for you from 2024 is none other than Kaikar Zephyr Awakener. And well, I've already done a full build on it, so check out that video now, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye for now.